Welcome back to News Talk. You probably know that looking good and feeling good requires proper exercise. It requires eating right. And then you've got to take care of your body. You've got to get enough sleep and other healthy habits. But many of us struggle when it comes to food. Not eating enough of the right things, eating too many of the wrong things, and in some cases, not knowing which is which. Well, today in our Friday Focus on You, some personal advice from personal trainer and columnist Joseph Brandenburg. He's with True 180 Fitness in the district. Welcome back. Good to have you here.
Good to be back.
We're calling this segment, Can I Eat That? And we've chosen 7 foods or food groups, and you're going to tell us whether we should eat them all the time, so like always, sometimes, like occasionally, or never. Ideally, these are things you would avoid to the maximum extent possible. I have the list, and you have not seen it, right? You have no idea what.
I'm totally in the dark. I'm a little nervous.
All right, here we go. Category 1, and this is a favorite for many, potatoes. Can I eat potatoes? We all love our mashed potatoes, our French fries. You can include sweet potatoes if you want. Can I eat potatoes if I want to look good and feel good?
So let's say I'm going to call that sometimes, and it sort of depends on who you are. So if you are like a lean person who is extremely physically active, then they go into like a legitimate sometimes. You know, on days that you are more physically active, potatoes will probably be fine. However, if you're someone with a weight problem and you have like a sedentary, desk job, that's not something that you should be eating.
Are there potatoes, in terms of the preparation, are there types of potatoes that you like better than others? You know, like you've got your hash browns with a little oil or a lot, depending on who's in the kitchen. You've got your fries. You've got your mashed potatoes, where there's that opportunity to throw in all manner of extra things like the cream and the butter. So when it comes to potatoes, what ends up on your plate?
Well, on my plate, I mean, I grew up as, I was the overweight kid, and I got made fun of all the time. So, my body does not really do very well with starch. So I very, very rarely eat them. With the occasional sort of, my guilty pleasure would be French fries. But that's definitely not something that I can eat on a regular basis, nor would I recommend anyone else to eat that on a regular basis. So I guess sort of the plainest you can go with your potatoes, sort of plain and baked. When you start frying them and...
Yeah, I meant to mention baked and I didn't, so I'm glad you did. Item number 2 on Can I Eat That? We know the problem with sugar, and we know the problem with regular soda. If I want to look good and feel good, can diet soda be part of the mix?
That goes on my never list.
Interesting.
So the theory about, diet soda is that because the sweetener is not digested by your body, that it's therefore inert, does nothing. It turns out that is not true, and it turns out that the microbes, so the microbiome that lives in your intestines, they digest the artificial sweeteners, especially the ones in diet soda, and it changes them in very significant ways, in ways that make them more efficient at extracting calories and also causing inflammation. So while sort of immediately we're not adding calories and we're not adding sugar, but over the long haul we are going to disrupt our body's ability to metabolize carbohydrates, period, and also push our bodies to gain more weight.
So there is that desire to believe that diet soda gives us the fun, the fizz, some of the flavor, etc. of regular cola without the downside, the chemicals, the sugar, and all the rest of it. I'm hearing you say, and you said it right at the outset, that diet soda, if you want to feel good and look good, goes in the never category.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, it's too good to be true.
Item 3, under Can I Eat That? Bread. Now, we've put up some bread here just as a photo, but there's all manner of great bread. So as you think about this, sometimes, always, never on bread. Then there's a chain. And what's their slogan? Life begins with bread. So you got the wheat bread and the healthy bread. And, of course, you have the more white kind of stuff that we know is probably problematic from a nutrition standpoint. Where do you stand on bread?
So on bread, we'll put that in the sometimes category, but when I say sometimes, it's more about, like with potatoes, it really depends on who you are. You're already lean and you are very active, you've never really had a problem with body fat, then your body is probably going to be okay with like a limited amount of bread or starch. unless of course you have like a legitimate sort of gluten issue. And then if you are on that other end of that spectrum, you have had a history of weight problems, like a person like myself, me and bread don't get along.
Can I eat that? Item number 4, question number 4 for you, Joseph Brandenburg. Rice. The photo here shows white rice. That's, for many, the most common. But there's brown rice, too. We're led to believe it's healthier. Sometimes the cooking method can make a difference in terms of the body's breakdown, the sugar hit, and all the rest of it. When you think of rice as something that we might put under the sort of main part of the meal, or maybe just by itself, always, sometimes, never.
So let's say, instant rice, that would be a never. Instant rice is like the highly refined version of rice. So that would be on the never category. And then other rice, it's not instant. It would go in the same category as bread, and also with the potatoes. It really depends on who you are. If some people's bodies are just a lot better at processing carbohydrates versus other people's bodies. And also, the more time you spend at a desk, like sort of the less that your body is going to need that or be able to do sort of productive things with that.
Now, let's say that I'm doing okay in terms of weight being under control. I mean, we all want to lose a couple extra, but if I'm basically doing all right, and I'm going to do it in moderation, and I'm going to try to keep the portions under control. It's interesting, you've said a couple times, if I've heard you right, that you would do these things, the sometimes foods, on the days you exercise. Is there a connection?
Yeah, definitely. So on the days that you're going to be doing intense exercise, for at least 45 or 60 minutes, on those days, if you're an office worker, you have, your body stores carbohydrates in a form called glycogen. So you have depleted those stores significantly. So now you sort of made space in your fuel tank specifically for those carbohydrates. So those are the days that your body is sort of going to be the most productive with them. And so instead of them going to potentially your fat cells or your liver, they're going to go to your muscles.
All right, 3 minutes left, 3 items left. I need to pick up the pace here. You're doing great. Can I eat that? Red meat, steak, burgers, the rest of it. Would you put that down as always, sometimes, or never?
So I feel weird saying always, because it's like I don't need you to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but it's definitely on like list of things that can be in your diet. I think red meat is something that's gotten a bad rap in the past couple of decades, but it's a great source of protein and sort of in a reasonable portion. It's fine.
And the preparation can make a difference too, in terms of, are you throwing a heavy sauce, a rich sauce on top of it, high calorie?
Absolutely.
So lean, careful with preparation.
Especially preferably grass-fed,
Crackers. There are some crackers that you look at them and you probably think, okay, a personal trainer is going to try to discourage me from eating too many crackers, but there's shelves and shelves of the healthy-looking, healthy-seeming, the wheat, the spelt, and, all this different stuff that has the seeds and what have you. Are there crackers that you would sign off on? Always, sometimes, never on crackers?
Crackers, never.
Interesting.
Basically, it's a box full of refined carbohydrates pressed into a shape. It's just, that's all it is. They can put whatever you want on the label, but at the end of the day, you've taken refined carbs and you've made them into a shape, and that's all it is.
Now, don't laugh at me when I put up the last one. The last can I eat that is sweets. Now, of course, personal trainer is not going to be, Bruce, I want you to eat your sweets. But to the extent that life is to be enjoyed, and we all want a reward, we all feel entitled to a reward or something special every now and again. What do you really say is the bottom line when it comes to the occasional sweet?
The bottom line for the occasional sweet, so if we're going to go sometimes, and it really means sometimes, most people seem to be successful with, maybe about twice a week.
And the notion being that you want people to have a diet routine, a food system, if you will, that they can sustain over the long term, not something that you do for 2 weeks and then fall off the wagon, right?
Right.
So you're a 2 times a week guy on sweets?
I think for most people, in terms of for making like weight loss progress, we have found that 2 times a week seems to be a really good number. It's that balance between enjoying life and making progress. Whereas we go beyond that, you're not making much progress, so you're not very happy.
When Joseph visits us next month, we're going to talk about 7 foods that seem like they should be healthy, but they really aren't. I hope you'll join us for that. Joseph Brandenburg, personal trainer, True 180 Fitness Downtown. Thanks very much for your time, as always. Part of our Friday Focus on You rotation. We'll see you next month. Back with more News Talk in a moment.